And now, let me introduce Joan. So as a young woman, Joan had the opportunity to spend time with Dr. John C. Lilly, who had an underwater dolphin communication project. He was studying interspecies communication in the late 70s. So he was a prominent influence on her work. Currently, she is a counseling psychologist, a shaman, a scientist, and the co-founder of Dolphin Connection, which is an organization established to explore the advancement of human consciousness through experiences with dolphins and whales. She has published 2 books, Dolphin Connection, Interdimensional Ways of Living, and Dolphins into the Future. The best thing I can say about Joan is that she laughs and smiles a lot. And she's even older than I am, and she clearly knows how to live a healthy lifestyle. Without further ado, here is Joan. Okay, so we are here at Sky Island Ranch, Joan's absolutely beautiful place. This is so beautiful here, this incredible orchid in the background. Yeah. So thank you for inviting me over.
You bet. My pleasure.
I'm so happy to have a chance to talk with you. It was really nice to sit in on your seminar.
Oh, great, great. Yeah, it was good to have you and the Mystery School to be here. Really a special treat.
Thank you. So, Joan, you're a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit of your background from that perspective?
Yeah, sure. My Master of Science degree is in counseling psychology and human development.
Okay.
And my background before meeting the Dolphins was really working for Child Protective Services, assisting children in the area of sexual abuse, who had been and were being sexually abused, and spending a lot of time in the courts to defend them and to protect them. So my life was doing a lot of that, the social worker kind of experience, and private counseling. And I enjoyed that, but I also loved science. I'm interested in the science with the dolphins, with their physiology, the abilities of their brain, how so much more of their brain is active than our brains are, even though we have so many similarities in our brain structure and the lobes and our physical bodies. And
tell me about that. So much more of their brain is more active than ours are.
Yeah.
How does that go?
Well, experiments have been done, by other scientists, and we have a lot of parts of our brain that we don't even understand.
Absolutely.
And when they, do their research on them or put different transmitters or are connecting to them, they see some parts do not seem that active. But those same parts of the brain on dolphins are active.
Ooh.
and it seems a lot to do with advanced communication and some of the qualities that we might call ESP, extrasensory perception.
Right.
So what I started experiencing very quickly with the dolphins was as I would swim with them in the beginning, and no one was swimming with the spinners yet. In fact, if you read the books, it says you can't swim with them. They swim away and you'd never get a chance to swim with them. So just myself and Jean-Luc, we were out there, and I didn't know how to swim, so I was on a boogie board. And I was tempted out there because I could see them swimming in the bay here, round and round. And for some reason, I just decided to go in the ocean anyway, swim or not swim. And they came around, they kept circling around. So subsequently, I moved to a house right there on the bay here on the Big Island. And for 12 years, I went out every day that they were there, which averaged about 20 days a month, every month, year round. And I would swim with them and no one else around in the beginning. And because I totally trusted them, I could go into an altered state of consciousness. So it's like a moving meditation. You're kicking your feet, you're moving along, but I could even have my eyes closed and they would be on both sides of me. And I could totally trust them.
And so you were by yourself.
Yeah.
Or maybe Jean-Luc was there too.
Yeah.
And on your boogie board.
Well, I finally gave up the boogie board.
You learned how to swim.
It was slowing me down. Yeah, the first things Dolphin had to teach me was how to swim. So.
Okay. And so you'd
And
be
then,
floating with your snorkel.
Right.
And they'd be next to you.
Right. Yeah, they'd be on both sides of me and sometimes under me. And we'd go along. And I never worried. I knew they wouldn't swim me out to sea or swim me into any coral reef. They totally were protective of me. Yes. To the point where I could even swim with my eyes closed and I could sense them. I knew they were there and I could feel when to turn without realizing it in the beginning. I was interacting with pod mind. Yeah. And I was like becoming a dolphin, which is my dream come true. So I started having these out-of-body experiences where I was floating above and I could see myself in my body down there swimming with them. Oh, that's really far out. You know, I like that. And then next, I started being able to travel to places and see different scenes and different locations. So,
for instance,
well, one time I went to a scene where it looked like a desert. It was kind of like Arizona or New Mexico, and I looked around and there were no people or very few. Everything looked like it had been devastated. It was really barren and people were living in makeshift kind of caves or wooden structures they built a little bit. And like to get water, I remember so clearly seeing they had some kind of a piece of plastic so that at night when there would be some element of moisture and dew, it would go on the plastic and then they'd have a cup and to try to catch water running off the plastic into this cup. They were drinking that. And the good thing I saw was they seemed to have telepathic contact with people in other locations who also were going through difficulties, challenges, that something apparently had happened on planet Earth. So it was so devastating for me to see that. I took it so personally. I love the earth. I love the beauty of nature all around. And it was terrible. And I was just crying. I came back from that experience, the dolphins were all around me. And I said, what was that? And I just heard their message say, that was your future. And then, oh no, you know, I just said, well, I'm not going to do that again. Came back to shore and I would not go into that space with them again because it was so upsetting. I would just play and do things in the water and I wouldn't get meditated. But after like a couple of weeks, I started saying, that was kind of interesting. What was that? Let's check that again. And so I said, okay. So I went back out, let them swim all around me again, went into this space and had a body, and all of a sudden I'm in a totally different setting. And now it was a setting, greenery all around, flowers, beautiful stream running, children playing, people all sitting around under trees in the shade, laughing. It was beautiful. My heart just expanded just to see it. And I loved it. And then I came back in my body and I said to the dolphins, what was that? And they said, that's your future. I said, wait a minute. That's when I learned there's no linear timeline. Oh, no, but yeah. And I said, well, I thought you said the other was my future. And they said, well, your future, you're creating it now in what you do right now in this life. Everything that you do is creating the future you're going to have. And you have many choices. There's many realities and possibilities out there. So that took me off on a whole nother train of interest, really, of wanting to know more about time travel, as we call it, even though we know really out there's no such thing as time. And I include that in a lot of my seminars now.
Oh, I know at the point we left off at the seminar, you were saying, and next time we're going to get really into the interesting stuff.
That's what you're interested in. Yes. Now, wait a minute. You said in the email you wanted to talk about extraterrestrials,
yes,
too.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Good. Interdimensional, shifting frequencies, all that kind of thing. Right? You know a lot about that stuff. I haven't had a chance to read your books yet. I really intend to.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it is in the books, a lot of that information, but the dolphins keep sharing so much more with me, and also my star friends, the dear ones that I've been connected to all of my life, as long as I can remember. So,
can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, about my connection with the star beings.
Right. When did that start?
I would love to. It's really as long as I could remember. I don't know when it ever started. I remember being in high school, and if I didn't have an answer on a test, I'd kind of tune in and say, "Please help me," and I'd get answers.
Woo!
And I would have this connection all the time that just seemed so natural to me, and I didn't think much about it. And then only when I was in my 30s, I thought to ask, "Well, do you have a name, or who are you, or who am I connected to?" And I got the name. The name came very clearly, Arcturus. And it wasn't meaningful to me at that time. I said, "Oh, okay, well, that's nice. I'll call you by that vibrational name then." And I just knew it was beautiful feelings of love and comfort and always with me. So it continues till this time. And often if I want to make contact with my guides and the extraterrestrials and the celestials, I often will have a thought on my mind or a question just before I go to sleep. And then often in my dream state, I get an answer. And they once told me that's when they like to make contact with us, because apparently we're more open, more available, and we can interact more that way. So I've just made the best of that contact all the time. And that really came before the dolphins. The dolphins were kind of almost like a bridge, I think, to help me to share the information about our star neighbors. Because even with the dolphins, you have to go into a different environment than your own. You have to wear equipment to go there, like some people have to do when they go to Mars. You have to wear in the water snorkeling equipment. And you're seeing beings who look different than you look. And yet the thing that they have in common is the love that emanates. There's so much love. And it's so joyful. And in fact, when I first made contact with the dolphins, that was why I resonated with them so strongly, because they felt very much like beings I've been in contact with from Arcturus, but also Sirius. And I even asked the dolphins, I said, "Oh, are you from Sirius?" Everyone says the dolphins are from Sirius. And their answer, I think it's in my first book, they said many things, but in relation to that, they said, well, we do carry some of the vibrational frequencies of Sirius, but not 100%. We are also connected with a lot of other star systems in addition. So I think because I had connection with Sirius back when, I guess it was in the 1970s, a group of ETs that called themselves the Nine, and said they were actually as bright as the light of Sirius. And so we said they were always from Sirius. And this was all happening at Esalen Institute. Do you know the place?
Oh, yes, very well.
Up in Big Sur. Yeah, I liked going there. And one time, to go there, you have to sign up for a workshop.
Unless you sneak in at night, which is
I never knew about that. I should have done that. But then where are you going to stay? Well, I guess if you have a tent, you're yeah, anyway, so I still always follow the rules, so I had to sign up. And when I wanted to go there because I was going through something, my boyfriend broke up with me or something happened, I wanted to go. And the only seminar they had a space in was one with Jenny O'Connor and the Nine, it was called. And that was where I first had contact. And all I saw, we went in the baths there, and it was a group about 15, and most of the people that signed up for that had different illnesses or shrapnel in their body, or they had intravenous they were carrying with them. Anyway, they were all not well, and that was the purpose of it, for healing. And I didn't know that, and so I was okay. But all of a sudden, coming toward us in the baths all I could see was this like golden egg. It was a golden white egg walking toward me, and a voice was coming out saying, "Hello, everyone. I'm Jenny, and I'm glad to be here with you." And I kept thinking it was the sun in my eyes because we're outside and the bath's there, and I couldn't see. And finally, I heard the voice, this golden egg, say, "Who would like to get on the massage table first?" And I leaped up faster than any of the others could do. And I got on the table right away, which wasn't my normal behavior. Usually I would always, oh no, I'll wait till last, and silly things like that. And I got on the table, and these hands came out of the golden egg over the top of me, and I went out of body like that. And that was it. And I knew my connection to Sirius was so strong. And from that point on, I would go to meetings with Jenny. Sometimes we went to university, different places, and I found I could pick up the information as the nine was sending it also. So she was doing it with automatic writing, and I was receiving it in my own mind sometimes. So,
and you get the same things.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Beautiful.
And it was still new back then.
Yes,
it wasn't as though a lot of people were channeling.
It's so amazing how many people are receiving messages now. I know, so different.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's so good and just natural. Really. But so that's what came first. And then when I met the Dolphins, it was, oh, their vibration is the same. I'm feeling the same feeling, and I think a lot of people experience them that way. That they really relate to the dolphins so quickly, because the love that the dolphins and the whales are emanating is so powerful. It just goes right to your heart, and you feel comfortable with them and joyful. Like your name.
I think of all the things that I've ever done, I think swimming with the dolphins is just the best. It's great. Truly joyful. Yes,
I think so too. For me.
Yeah.
I go nearly every day.
Yeah,
and they keep showing me more and more things, and it's just so touching. And to see people change, of course. People come and maybe they're nervous, they're anxious about going in the ocean, but the minute the dolphins are around them, they're fine.
So what are they sharing with you?
Well, for the dolphins, they really understand that the most valuable thing we can do for the planet is to continue to emanate love and joy. That is so important right now. And it's a challenge. Because all the things going on in the world and in our personal lives, and changes occurring so fast. And to still be in a place of love and compassion and joyfulness is the challenge. So to me, that is their number one choice, their message and their reason for coming to interact with humanity at this time on planet Earth. Even the Hawaiian spinners that I swim with most of the time, they came here just for this period of time, just like so many of us did, to assist with this amazing transformation on planet Earth. That's what they told me, that they're swim-ins to our walk-ins. Swim-ins. They are swim-ins, and they came to be with us, and they are. They said, when you see us leaping in the air and spinning, and we'll be calling you into the ocean, so come join us, come be with us. And also because the ocean is so healing itself. The molecules, the water molecules, is very powerful to swim in the ocean, the consciousness of the ocean. Teaching that process that I got from the dolphins of how to go into these parallel realities that exist. And we only go into positive ones because we've learned that by going into them, sometimes we're definitely creating them. So the dolphins know that as well, and they just create an environment of joy and happiness all the time. So it's been very powerful to connect that with my counseling background, because people can go back and view their past and change it. Which, when the dolphins first said, why don't people rewrite their past? It's okay, well, how can they do that? Now I know, but back then I wasn't sure.
And so how did they rewrite their past?
Well, they actually, we can go back and into the past that they are remembering,
Right.
whether they were maybe abused or something as a child.
Mhm.
And we don't go there. We just look at it like through a window to
Right.
see it. And we see what happened. Because sometimes people aren't even remembering it. They blocked it from their memory, but they're still suffering because of it, because the energy is still
stuck
within
back
them.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's stuck there. So it usually relates to a problem they're having in their present life.
Mhm.
So we let our higher consciousness guide us by saying, take us to the place where this all began.
Yes.
And then we make the jump into that particular timeline, of which there are so many timelines.
Yes.
But we go right to that one and we see what happened. And then we just view it, and then we come back to this reality again. And then we make a second jump into a timeline where another version of ourselves, or our twin self, or a double of ourselves, living on a simultaneous timeline.
Mm-hmm. Alternate self. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ultimately. Came to a different conclusion, handled it differently.
Oh, I love it.
So like this one woman, she was started out because she was having problems in her sexual relationship with her husband, and she didn't know why. So when we jumped to see where it all began, she found out as a 3-year-old she had been sexually abused by an uncle, and she had blocked it out. So then when we went back in this other timeline of a past, another past of hers, she went to her grandmother and told her grandmother about it. And the grandmother believed her and helped her and stopped it from happening. And what happens when you do that, when you recreate your past, it recreates your whole timeline.
Yeah.
It's gone, the negative one is gone, and you're now into the new, and your life is so much better because of it.
Wonderful.
So that's just one of the processes we do. But we do a lot for, we're going into timelines where the earth is at peace and everyone's getting along and everyone's working together and rebuilding structures and living close to nature and sharing, and things are equal.
Coming from a heart space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
so you do that as a group? You tell me more about that. How do we magnetize that reality?
It's important because, as we know, the group mind is so powerful.
It is.
So, I mean, I can do it individually. Anybody can do it individually anytime.
Yes.
But it's more powerful when you do it as a group.
Right.
And, unity, consciousness, the Dolphins have said that the power of group thinking with positive intentions is more powerful than anything else on earth.
That is so important to really get that.
Yeah. And so usually we do it like in a workshop setting, or here in the community. I love our community here. We call it Dolphinville, just kind of tongue in cheek, but now it's kind of an accepted name. It doesn't really exist, so people try to write a letter to Dolphinville. The post office is scratching it. But anyway, it's so many people have moved here to be close to the Dolphins because they know that's their path, and they want that spiritual growth that comes and healing from being with the Dolphins. And so they've moved here, and we meet regularly. And it's such a great group because you can talk about anything, no matter how far out with this group. Anytime I go back to visit people, other locations, mainly on the mainland or Europe, you're thinking about what you're going to talk about, what you're going to say. Right. But here we can discuss everything. So it's very liberating. And then the support group, if people ever need anything, need help, we're all there. So I always try to get everyone to move here. I think everyone should live here, and it is the Hawaiian culture itself. They understand so much about connection to nature, about spirituality, about their connection to the stars, the Pleiades, the Arcturians. Hokulea is so amazing because Arcturus guided me here. And I didn't know, I was looking up, I said, boy, there's a bright star in the sky. It's always there. And an astronomer told me, oh, well, that's the star that brought the Hawaiians to this island. It's always right there over this island. I said, wow, that's great. And he said, yeah, the name of that star is Hokulea.
Mm.
And I said, oh, what does that mean? And he said, Arcturus. Oh, well, that's what brought me here too. I didn't say that, but yeah.
So, yeah, Lanakila Manguil, do you know who he is?
Oh, Lanakila.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not the Lanakila here.
Oh, no, I knew the Lanakila here. Oh.
But Manguil, he's a younger man.
Oh,
He's in Honoka, and he's one of the people that I interviewed.
Oh,
and he talks about all this. You'd love to hear
wonderful.
that. Wonderful.
I look forward to
that.
that.
Yeah.
Will he be speaking at the conference?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
And all these things that you're talking about, he touches on that.
Yeah, because that's such an important part. I mean, their connection to the land and the ocean is what makes everything just flourish here.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
So he talked about how there were 1 million people on this island before the white people came. And how when they came here, they were just blown away by the lushness of this island, that they knew how to live in balance with nature so that it was incredibly abundant.
Exactly. Yeah. And, now we have to all help to keep it that way too.
Yes. And so how do we energize that reality for our future? So we come together in a group. What can we do?
I think individually we all have to make changes. I know I had to. And I grew up in New Jersey, New York, still have a bit of that accent. And really, Jean-Luc is great here. We this is how we take care of nature, and we never use any Monsanto products, and we make sure the land is always organic, and the animals that are here are well cared for. And he plants so many amazing fruit trees and vegetables and gardens, and we just love the land. We give thanks every day. Every time I go out, it's like I see a new tree or something. I just thank it for being there. And it's so beautiful, like these beautiful orchids. You just give thanks all the time.
Absolutely.
And of course,
coming
living
together in a
brings
group,
to that.
when you have a group together, what are some things that you can do as a group to energize an alternate reality that is really positive?
Well, that's our main reason. Like, we're getting together in just a couple of days to do that very thing. We do that regularly to kind of counteract some of the other things going on. Yeah.
So you get together in a group. Do you have any particular procedure that you do?
Sure. We go into a meditation, and they're good meditators. They get right in there.
Right.
And then we know what our intention is. We have the intention to see peace on earth and to know that is the reality, that it already exists. It's here now. And we just need to move to that particular vibrational frequency and be there and be in that vibration. And that creates it here. It brings it here within us, within our hearts. So that's what we do when we meditate. We call it doing a jump. It's like, in the sciences, they go through a jump room.
Quantum jump.
Such as that. Quantum accessing. And it has to do with the multi-worlds, the multiverse. I happen to believe that it's true that there are many, many, many universes, many, many other planet Earths, identical to this, many, many other versions of us on all those planets. And we can go visit those and bring those in, because as long as we're using our positive consciousness and our higher self, that's what we're creating here. And as I think people know, if you get feeling upset or negative, or things turn you upside down and you're not yourself, then you're helping to create the negative reality. So it's a huge responsibility we have right now. True. And it's a challenge too. For me, when I find something's bothering me, I can tell internally something bothers you. You don't exactly feel right. I try to stop what I'm doing, go back, see where it began, kind of. What set me off? What made me feel upset or upset my stomach or anything? And I'll be able to track it. And then when I see what it is, I'll analyze it a little bit, realize it really doesn't matter. It's not anything that important. And I can get myself back into a positive place. And I still need that kind of procedure to do it. I need to talk to myself a bit and come back to the positive place. So when our group meets here and all of us going through all our different things. You know,
Right.
some of them are health issues or no place to live or foreclosures or all kinds of things that are happening. When we come together here as a group, we stay in that positive space and we create it. And so when we leave here for the day and all go to our own places, everybody is uplifted and feeling better. And that definitely reflects on their life.
And so when you are together as a group, do you actually talk about what you're seeing, or is there any verbal communication that happens during that time?
Yeah, we always talk about inspiring things and the latest thing. So important now.
Yeah.
You know, that people know the truth. They know it deep inside.
Yeah.
They know who they are. They know their background, really. And to begin to speak about, you know, how long we had to worry about ridicule and things like that held us back. And not anymore. You know, now we have to come forward. And so sometimes you make a mistake or say something that turns out to not be what you thought it was, but it's okay, you know, because most of it is helpful.
I understand there's 65% of the men and 50% of the women in America believe that there is alien consciousness.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good. Keep going. Yeah, for sure.
So it's time, you know, it's time to come out and talk about it.
You know, it's all about, again, love. Love is a frequency. It can be, you know, recorded. They can determine what love is, of course, as it emanates from us. And as we're able to emanate that more and more on the planet, that's when our ET friends can come in close to us. You know, it's up to us to
like
do
the Dolphins,
it. You know, as we know, they're not going to come rescue us and, you know, land their ship and get shot at by lasers or whatever. Done that, been there. But it's up to us to change the consciousness on the planet, even if we can get a majority of people to change their consciousness.
Even 1%.
Even 1%, is it? Wow,
Yeah.
We can do that.
We can do
it. All right.
Exactly. So Deborah Rossman is the president of HeartMath.
Oh, yes.
And she's one of the people that are going to be.
I haven't met her yet.
Well,
yeah.
Check her out during the telesummit.
I will.
She's very, very interesting talk about what the devices they're planting on different parts of the planet in order to measure the frequency of human consciousness and the frequency of the Schumann resonance of the Earth. And very exciting.
Oh,
things.
fascinating! Because that's what the ETs are doing too, and they're looking to see, are they ready yet? Are they ready yet? You know? But meanwhile, they are communicating with many of us.
Okay.
We're doing that all the time.
Little by little, So I so appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you. And you. It's wonderful getting the word out, helping so many.
Yeah.
And I will circulate it. I'm going to get it out there to my list and everything.
Excellent. So thank you so much. I want to hug you.
Thanks. Love you.
All right. I love you too. Well, thank you all for joining us. This has been great.